I believe you can see my screen now, right?
Yes, yes.
Fine. So we have seen the structure of Java program, and examples of a class object, and I have to show you an example how to create an object. So before that, let me tell you something about data types, variables, and methods. Then we will go executing a sample program how to create an object for a class and access the properties. Yes. Method syntax. So I am going to show you the prototype of method, that is signature of method. So in Java, we write method name, which I told you that is similar to function name in C program. So method name may have parameters. So parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, and so on, parameter n, which are comma separated. And these parameters are nothing but variables, we call it as. Then this method will be having a return type as usual, like function. So the return type may be void or some data type or some object. Along with this, in Java, there are two more,
Okay.
like access specifiers and static keyword. Access specifiers in Java are four, that is public, private, protected, and default. So those are the access specifiers.
Mm-hmm.
We will discuss these access specifiers in detail. So they will control the visibility of this method to other components. Then static keyword. Static keyword is optional. This static keyword represents that whether this particular method belongs to class or object. We will see the static also soon in our upcoming session in detail. And method will be having opening brace and closing brace, which are highlighted red in color. And we can write block of statements inside the method. And here the return statement is optional. So this is similar to the function prototype in C programming. So the thing is we will be having static and access specifiers and in addition to that. Then here I just mentioned the return type, possible return types here. So the return types are generally the data type, like in C programming, C, that is int, character, double, float. Similarly, we have the data types in Java also. So data type, or it may be an object, maybe an array, maybe a string, collection, etc. And if it is void, it means the method is returning nothing. And here's some example I have just mentioned. So a function sum with return type void, and here the body of the method goes. So statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, and so on. All the statements are terminated by semicolon. So here this
Mm-hmm.
function I just mentioned void as the return type. So I don't have any return keyword here. Suppose if the return type is maybe some integer, then the sum function will be having a return integer. So the statement which represents that this method is returning something. So return RETUR and return some integer. And I believe you know how to write a function, right? Are you able to understand this?
Okay. Yeah.
If you have any doubts, just let me know then and there immediately. Okay?
Okay.
Fine. So here, this sum function, which is having a return integer. So when we call this function, so you can see here, we are calling this function sum function. And this is returning some integer value, k. So we can hold that in the variable result. So this is how we invoke the sum function which is returning sum. And you can, if you want, you can print that result by using an SOP statement. The system.out.println, in short, we call it as SOP. System.out.println, SOP statement. So this is an example how to write a function. And we will let few examples in a class and access them also. I just shown you the prototype and I made a differentiation between return type when it is void and when it is integer. I mean some data type apart from void. Access specifiers, as I told you, they are public, private, protected, default. So these are the available access specifiers in Java. And here we will see how to declare a variable. This is similar to in C programming. So variable declaration would be having a variable name, which is qualified with some data type and can assign some value to that. So this is complete variable declaration. So here you can see an example. Yes.
I have one dumb
Yes.
question. Okay, so can you move little up? So somehow I missed this. Can you move little up, little more? So the result is for void and void sum and integer sum. So what is the difference? Can you please repeat me once again? So what is the result will come if we declare as a void sum?
No, the thing is result. Result is like a generally, suppose what I'll do is I'll write a program. Do you want me to write a program or just give the result here explaining?
Okay, anything is fine. Okay, can you explain the result how it works?
Right.
I mean, we made the difference.
Right. The thing is, I believe you are aware of C program and are able to understand what a function, right?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Right. So assume I have a main function here. I am. So this main function either in Java or C program. I mean to say the concept what I am telling is similar in C programming as well as Java also. Okay. And this sum function, what I'll do is I will write it as sum1, sum2 to differentiate. Else you will be confused which function I am referring to. Okay. And I say here, what I'll do is I have codes, these two different codes. In my main function, what I am doing is I am calling this sum2 function I am invoking. Better say I write here invoke method. So this is nothing but invoke, or we call it as calling a method. So in my main method, I am calling sum2 function, sum2. We call like this. It means the compiler when executes this statement, it goes to this function sum2 and it executes the block of statement. And in this block of statement, there are certain statements here. And finally, what it is doing, it is returning something, right? After some calculation, after computing. So what it is returning? 10 plus 20, 30, right? So here some two function, when it is invoked and processed, it is returning some value. When it is returning some value, I need to hold that value, right? And what type of value it is? It is returning integer value. So I need to create a container which is of type integer to hold compatible integer value. So I create a container. Variable is nothing but a container which holds some value. And I got that result here. This result is now holding 30 value, right? Now, with this 30, if you can do, that is, you can further process or display to user. So how do we display in Java? That is system.out.println. Here I am displaying the result. So when you execute this, it will display 30 over there. Got it? So this is how, I mean, what happens when we call a function that is returning some value. Assume I am invoking some one function which does not have a return type, right? So in that case, I write here call some one function. In that case, what happens is some one function I am calling some. In that case, the compiler, when executes the statement, the compiler gets into this code, gets here, executes this, execute. So here this someone function is returning void. That is nothing. It is not going to return anything. That is why there is no return statement here. Got it? If it is returning something, then we need to mention that this particular function is returning, function or method is returning that what is the data type value. So as my someone function is qualifying with the keyword void, which says it is not going to return anything, nothing is returned. In that case, I perform some computation here. Okay. Suppose if you want to display that computation, then you need to put an SOP statement inside this function. Got it? If you don't want to display it, then you don't need this, of course. It's not like void, I mean a function with a void return type should display some result. It may be performing some computation also.
So in real time, where can we use this kind of void functions?
Look, if you want to perform only computation, then you can mention, or else if you want to expect some results after processing, got it? If you are expecting some results after processing, this computation is nothing but processing. If you are expecting some result after processing, then go for mentioning some return type.
If no expectation means
no expectation, then you can go with void. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. Suppose if you want to further process after some computation and you need that result, generally what happens is we break down the complete logic in methods. So you are assigning some task to one method, some another task to another method. Got it? Now, you need some result from method 1, and that result you are taking, consuming, and you are further processing. Then how do that method 1 will give you result? It can process. Generally methods are used for processing some computation. That's it. If you are expecting some result from that particular method, then the method can supply to you using this return. Got it? Fine. This is how we call those functions or methods from main method. What is it? Suppose you are calculating salaries of employees. Assume you have 10 employees in your organization and you are going to calculate their salaries. Salaries calculation generally will be having other elements like HR, DNS allowance, medical allowance, tax deductions, all those things, right?
Yes.
So in that case, I just consider an example of 10 employees. Maybe you can calculate thousands of employees also. Over there, assume you have assigned this task to two methods. Method one is calculating first 5 employees salaries, and method two is calculating the last 5 employees. Okay. Now you need to show the sum of salaries of all your 10 employees. In that case, the first method which has calculated the salaries and give you some result. That some result plus second method which is calculating the salaries for other 5 employees also will produce some result. And these two results you are going to add together. So you are expecting some, right, finally. Total salaries of 10 employees in your organization for this month. Then you are expecting return type from both the employees, sorry, both the methods, right? In that case, you need to mention return in both the methods. You get that return value and you perform computation. Got it? So over there, you are expecting some result from this method, and so you mention the return type over there. Okay.
Okay.
If you are not expecting any return type and you are just like something return type without any return type void, like let me apply the same to our employees example. Okay, for example, you would like to apply or better say you have created a new regulation in your organization and you are assigning 10% hike in the DNS allowance for all your employees. Okay, that is the DNS allowance previously was 30%. Now you are hiking it to 40%. Got it? So
Are
how
you
do you
writing something?
come again? Sorry.
Hi, Ahmed. This is Ananya.
Yes, Ananya, please.
So, are you writing something on the board?
No, I am not writing. I am just speaking.
Okay, okay.
Because I'm just, this is a simple example, so I just, what is it? Spoke about that. If you want, I can write also. For you.
No problem.
So here, so generally, my main method, everything goes inside this main method. You can assume that as Java main method also, okay? And here, hike DA for all employees. Got it? So this is having hike. And here, void. This has a computation. So give hike of 10% to all my employees. So all the statement goes here, okay? All these statement goes here, which assigns, which takes the current hike of the employee and updates it. So that is nothing but how we do DA equals to DA plus 10%, right? So the DA of employees is taken from database and their DA would be hiked to another 10%.
10%.
And you can see here. So this is a new regulation you launched, and now you just invoke this method. This I just copy paste. Huh?
Okay.
Now when you execute this main method, this statement will be executed, and this statement, what it is doing, it is assigning 10% hike to all your employees, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, you don't need any return type over there, and your database would be having new values for DA. Previously it was 30%, now the calculation goes and it will update to 40%. Got it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in this case, you don't need to have any return type. You just need to process that all your employees will be getting 10% hike. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Is that clear? The difference between mentioning a return type and not mentioning a return type? Mehboob, are you clear with this?
Maybe he's not in here. Oh, he will come.
No problem. Fine, fine. If he has any queries, still he can ask me, maybe in the next session, or even he can email me. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Fine. I was talking about this. Let's get into the data types that are available in Java program.
Okay.
Variable declaration. So here I would like to highlight two more things with variable declaration. So this is the syntax, how we declare a variable. That is variable name qualified with some data type equals to assignment operator, then the value. So here the whole statement can be called as initialization. So here you can see I declare some example, int age equals to 18. So here I am assigning the value 18 to a variable age of data type integer. This single statement can also be expressed as two statements, that is by breaking down. So here, if you want, I can write here. So this is variable declaration. This is one way, and the other way I am just labeling. So it is something like data type, variable name, semicolon, then variable name assigning. So writing it in two statements. The same thing I applied here. Int age equals to 18. So this is a single step. So that single step can be splitted into two statements. That is int age. We just declared a variable. Then the declared variable is assigned some value here. So if you observe over there, I am explaining it in comments. This portion is known as declaration, and this portion is known as assigning a value to that declared variable. Together, this int age equals to 18, which is going in single statement, is known as initialization. So please do remember this. So while declaring the variable, If you are assigning the value also, then that is known as initialization. Because there is an interview question where they'll ask you the difference between instantiation and initialization. Instantiation is something related to creating an object for a class. In last session, I showed you by example and picture how to create an object for a class in Java, right? So, complete creation of an object is known as instantiation, we call it as creating an instance to a class, creating an object for a class. And initialization is something related to variable declaration and assigning a value in a single statement. Are you clear with the difference between instantiation and initialization?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And let's take you to data types. So these data types are known as basic data types or fundamental data types or primitive data types. There are 8 in Java. So I have segregated them into numerics, characters. So here you can see numerics. Under numerics data types, we have integers and floating point numbers. So floating point numbers are nothing but the real numbers which are having decimal in it, point in it. So under integers, we have data type. So as of now, I am focusing on data type and capacity, its range. I will talk about the default value soon. So for now, you focus on this data type, its capacity, and the range of values it can accommodate inside. Like in C programming, we have data types. Maybe you are familiar with the int data type, short and long data type, right? Maybe short also not, maybe int and long you might have seen frequently. Or you might have used these two things in your academic somewhere. So along with this, we have data types like byte and short. So byte data type capacity is 1 byte. It means it occupies 1 byte of memory. I have mentioned capacity both in bytes as well as bits also. We know well that 1 byte equals to 8 bits, right? So 8 bits. And the range of values which it can accommodate is minus 128 to 127. So this data type holds values that are between minus 128 and 127. If you want to store a value higher than this 127, that is maybe 130, 200, 300, then this byte data type is not sufficient. You can treat these data types all these data types as some containers. In containers, you are going to put some information in it, or something you are going to put in the container. And this byte container is of small capacity and it can hold only these values. The next data type is short. So short data type is of 2 bytes and when expressed in bits it is 16 bits and it can hold values from minus 32,768 to 32,767 only. If you want to put some value that is higher than this, maybe 40,000, 50,000, then this is not sufficient. The next data type is integer, which is having 4 bytes. 4 bytes capacity, that is 32 bits. I did not mention any specific number here. I just mentioned it as minus large number to large number. Generally, it is a number with a 10 to 12 digits. And long data type, which is having a capacity of 8 bytes and which can be expressed in bits as 64 bits, and it is holding a value larger than this, that is a very huge negative number to very huge positive. And floating point numbers, we have float and double. Floating point numbers, that is float, can have 4 bytes of capacity, that is 32 bits. And here also I just mentioned minus large number to positive large number with a decimal point inside it. Double, which is having 8 capacity, 64 bits, minus very huge to positive very huge with a decimal point in it. So all these are numeric data types available in Java. And I would like to highlight int data type. If you refer back to C programming, int data type can hold a capacity of 2 bytes. And of course, some operating systems can assign, better say some compilers can assign 4 bytes also to int data type in C programming. But generally, most of the compilers will assign 2 bytes, whereas in Java it is 4 bytes. So sometimes they may ask you the capacity of integer in C programming and Java programming. In C programming it is 2 bytes, and few compilers can assign 4 bytes also. It is depending upon the operating system platform what you are using. And in Java it is fixed, that is 4 bytes. There is no change whatever the platform you are using. And characters. Character data type, and character data type which can hold a capacity of 2 bytes, and that is expressed in bits, 16 bits, and generally we represent characters in single quotes. You can see here single quotes. I mentioned capital M over there. We mention characters in single quotes, and here uppercase M and lowercase m are different. So case matters here. And I would like to highlight something about this character data type in Java. So when compared to C programming, every character holds 1 byte in C programming, whereas in Java it is 2 bytes. In Java, this character data type supports Unicode representation of characters. That is universal code. That is, if you want to store Japanese, Chinese language characters, text, you can store using character data. So this is one of the important interview questions. So Unicode character. So why Java is assigning 2 bytes capacity to characters is, the reason is it supports sorry, Unicode characteristics. That is, it can support the other languages text also. Then Boolean data type. So Boolean data type, which is having a capacity of 1 bit, and it is generally used to represent a Boolean value true or false. So these are the various data types that are available in Java, and I'll talk about this default value now. So before getting into it, so if you see here, there is a variable age of data type integer. So when you declare a variable, as of now in this statement, can you guess what is the value present in it? Do you know what the value present in it? I did not mention any value age over there. I just declared a variable age. I did not give any value.
So it will be allocate integer bytes information for age, right?
Yes, of course, integer bytes. Integer bytes. I am talking about value particularly. I did not assign any value, right, for this age.
What integer?
No,
No.
no default value, right?
So no, that's what, no default value. The thing is, when we don't assign any value, that is when programmer is not assigning any value, then JVM will assign a default
It
value.
will show 0.
Right, that's what. JVM will assign the default value when programmer is not assigning. And that default values are labeled here. If it is byte, char, int, long, then JVM will assign a default value of 0. Okay.
Okay.
For floating point number, float and double, JVM will assign a default value of 0.0. If it is float, 0.0 F, and if it is double, 0.0 D. Okay. F represents float, D represents double. Okay. For character, it is just blank. Are you able to follow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, if you go back to C programming, we had some expressions. If they are equal to 1, we consider as true, and if they are 0, then we consider as false. Right? Do you remember? When some expressions are evaluated, and if it is resulting to 1, then that is true. If it is resulting to 0, it is false. Right? In C program.
Yeah.
Here in Java, we have separate values true and false to represent the Boolean data.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's about data types. Data types. Mehboob and Ananya, for now, I would like to wind up the session, because if I go further executing the Java program, it may be difficult to other friends who are missing. So all these things which we discussed today are theoretical, which they can easily understand. And we shall proceed by example next session. Is that okay?
Okay, sure. No. Yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amit.
You'll soon get this recording, so that you can refer to that. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Fine. Have a nice
Okay,
day.
thank
We'll be meeting the same time tomorrow, as per the schedule. I'm sorry for the delay for today. Okay.
Oh, that's
No
fine. No
problem.
problem.
Thank you very much.
Fine. Have a nice
Bye.
day. Okay.